4 addictions that destroy Nigerian men. Is it not funny how when you see like somebody on the road smoking, or maybe a person for your area with they smoke, the first thing that comes to your mind is now, wow, like there's this form of like disgust and judgmentalism, like how you go to smoke? Don't you know what it's doing to your lungs or whatever? It's not funny how like that's the first thing that comes to our mind when we see people smoking. But then immediately afterwards, after you see that person and you pass and you enter your house, you go ahead and you spend 13 hours on social media. You're spending 13 hours on social media and you're judging somebody for being an addict. You genuinely think there's any difference between you and a guy being unable to stop smoking? I'm saying this because before you judge somebody for being addicted to XYZ, understand that you too, you have something that you're doing that you should stop. And on the large scale of things, there's nothing wrong with indulging in these things once in a while. Do you understand? Like NBA players, when they win championship rings, they smoke that night. Like all of them are handed cigars and all of them smoke. Billionaires, for example, when they like, let's say they have a very successful quarter, like in their business, they can go to the casino and blow a lot of money and lose money, make money. Do you understand? These are things that you can indulge in as guilty pleasures. So you get once you go just run. But the moment you cannot control these things, the moment those things become an addiction, that's when it becomes a problem. The first addiction that destroys Nigerian men is porn. For me, when it started becoming popular was junior school. You know, that time we see they use Symbian phone, Java phone, you know, X2, Nokia C3. Boys we get money, don't they use BlackBerry that time? Maybe say we they enter WAP Trick, WAP Dam, Red WAP, you know. Yes, that was when it became popular, to me. That was when it started becoming a thing, right? Junior school, we're that young, you know. If you remember clearly, you didn't need to get past the first page on whatever illegal, explicit website you were on to be fine. Only the first page and you are good. Do you understand? You have gone, you have done what you need to do, and everybody's happy. You have gone back, everybody's happy, you get. But the more you indulged in, you know, watching porn and, you know, masturbating, the more you started getting desensitized to stuff that was, you know, sensitive to you before. Page 1 is no longer enough for you. You start getting to page 5. From page 5, you start getting to page 15. From page 15, you start needing bigger, longer, fatter, thicker. Do you understand? Like you start needing more and more and more. And you need to go to a new website because this other website is too boring. You don't watch everything we did there. You need a new website. From new website, you're tired of all the acting. This thing is so fake, it's so artificial. Now you need amateur, you need natural, you need leaked tips. Like you can never get enough. And what you don't know is as you are advancing from page 1 to page 5 to page 15, what you're not understanding is you're destroying your dopamine receptors the more you advance. Be like at any point in time when you tell yourself, I need something more to get off. At any point in time when you tell yourself that, you have destroyed your dopamine receptors even more. And what guys don't understand is this in turn affects your sex life. A woman who on a normal day is supposed to be attractive to you, she not gonna make sense again. First, like there's no like push for you to even have sex with her. And if you want to even have sex with her, you cannot get hard. Or you cannot sustain being hard. One of the two. Do you understand? These are things that guys would go through and they won't tell you about. Do you understand? Because it is shameful. They won't tell you about it. Erectile dysfunction is a problem. But one of the largest sources of erectile dysfunction is PIED, porn-induced erectile dysfunction. You don't watch porn sote, normal girl we will say on a normal day, she's very attractive. She know they really do much for you. You need to go online to find a very unrealistic, disproportioned, shapeless human being to be turned on by. If you get into it at a very young age, like earlier, you have a larger chance of breaking out. Do you understand? But if you start doing it when you're like 26, 27, when your brain already strong, to change could be hard for you at that point. Stopping it becomes unbelievably hard. Do you understand? I'm not here to like judge anybody. All of us don't fuck up. You get? I'm not trying to judge anybody, but if you are addicted to porn, right? The point in time when you will actually stop porn is when you meet somebody. Let's say your guy, for example. You meet your guy and your guy tells you, see, guy, me and my babe will not fit do anything. My babe don't leave me, or my babe don't tire for me. You ask him why he don't tire for you. He tells you that he cannot get hard again. In babe go come out clothes, he's like this. In babe go come out short, he be like this. Like when you meet somebody who tells you that, like gives you in-depth explanation of how porn has messed up his entire life, or maybe if you experience it, that is the point in time when you will actually stop it, because there are multiple ways online on how to stop it, and all those ways are, they are good, they are okay, but it is not as impactful as meeting somebody whose life has been absolutely destroyed by it. If you're watching this video, I know saying they hard, but see, it is not as hard as having like your entire life destroyed because you couldn't stop the addiction when you were younger. Addiction number 2 is gambling. Sporty bet Niger, you know the vibes. We like football for this Niger, sure you get. We love it. And with football just comes betting. It's one of those things that even if you tell yourself you're not going to do, if you're somebody who, let's say, they actually go where they watch ball, go watch ball. Nobody say they like watch for house alone. They go viewing center, go watch ball. At some point in time, everybody's doing it. You said go on, just try them. Do you understand? You go on try them. And when you try it, it's 2 things, right? Oh, it's 3 things. The first thing is, if you almost win, and that's the first situation, you almost, let's say now only 1 game cuts, or 2, if you actually win, it's over. Like it's over. You're trapped. You have to be a very strong person to absolutely say, okay, I've done it. I won the money now. I will not gamble. It's a lie. You do it again. The reward of putting in a little money and making a shit ton of money is the same. Like, it's the same reward you get from watching porn, in the sense that it is rewarding you with dopamine, excessive levels of dopamine that you cannot get from doing any other activity. A gambling addiction can lead to depression, alcoholism, and poverty overall. But all these logical reasons are not enough for an addict to change. Because, see, I go beat person baby for this compound. The truth is, someone who is an addict knows all the logical reasons why he should stop or why she should stop. Telling them, oh, if you gamble, you lose your money. Obviously, do you understand? So they know all these logical reasons. It's a mental thing, right? The levels of dopamine that are pumped to your brain when you become addicted to things like sex, porn, gambling, it is difficult to get another source of anything that can pump that kind of dopamine into your head. Now, according to a lot of research, the obvious treatment for this is something called cognitive behavioral therapy, right? But within Niger, who is going to do any cognitive behavioral anything? Who's going to do it? First of all, most people who gamble are not even the richest people. Money not today like that. So how are they going to go for this therapy, right? What I would advise any guy who is watching this who gambles is, first of all, it's 2 things. First of all, you need to accept that you want to change this gambling problem, because if you never accept, say you want change them, you can't. 1, you need to accept that you want to change it. And number 2, there has to be a buffer between your money and yourself, in the sense that when your money enter, it's not going directly to you. I know this sounds difficult to do. This sounds almost unrealistic, but that's the most practical way, I believe, that you can like reduce your gambling addiction. If your money is coming in, right, but it doesn't get to you directly, it gets to somebody else. This accountability partner could be your babe, your wife, your guy where you trust, your father, your mother. I don't care who it is, but the point is, when your money comes in, it goes through them. They will allocate the amount of money you need for a week or for 10 days. Do you understand? If you waste the money, if you use the money gamble, you starve until it is time for your next 10 days or for your next week. If you leave these people in charge of their monies, they will burn it, they will waste it as fast as they can. Do you understand? That's honestly, to me, the easiest way to do it if you don't have money to go for therapy, obviously. Addiction number 3, drugs. Molly, coke, alcohol, cigarettes, ecstasy, heroin, marijuana, mushrooms are just a few drugs that Nigerian youth indulge in. Like I said in the beginning, right? As bad as some of these things are, there are people who take these drugs like 3 to 4 times in a year, and their body is perfect. They are living beautiful, normal lives. Do you understand? Once they could just take after 2-3 months, they go remember, say, hey, they go take them again. Do you understand? And their lives are good and fine. They are indulging in guilty pleasures once in a while. Do you understand? And giving their bodies enough time to recover. But when you get addicted to these things, this is absolutely the worst type of addiction to have. Because first of all, it is destroying your dopamine receptors, like almost every other addiction. But at the same time, it is destroying your body. I don't think there's any other addiction, right, that leads you closer to the grave than drug addiction. Tobacco increases the risk of lung and heart disease. Cocaine can cause stroke and heart attack. Cigarettes lead to heart disease and lung cancer as well. Ecstasy temporarily paralyzes you. Heroin causes liver and kidney disease. Many more. For most of the other addictions I talked about, you could fix them with just an accountability partner or just on your own, by journaling. Like, you could fix them on your own to a large extent. But with drug abuse, it is so negatively impactful that you need to go for rehab. Quitting drug addiction on your own has to be one of the most difficult things ever, right? So going for rehab is honestly, regardless of how expensive it might be or stressful it might be, is the best option. Addiction number 4, social media addiction. I'm very sure when I was talking about gambling, some people were like, me, gamble, money where I never even make. Or when I was talking about porn, they're like, how you could watch porn? Girls don't finish. There's always an excuse. Tell me something now. Tell me about social media. Why are you on your phone the entire day? Explain to me why you have to spend 15 hours of your day. You're sleeping for 6 hours and you're spending 15 hours on your phone, meaning only 3 hours is spent doing something that doesn't involve your phone. And you judge people when they watch porn, and you judge people when they smoke. The problem with social media addiction to me, right, is the way you can 100% abandon drugs or abandon watching porn or abandon gambling is not the same. You can't 100% abandon social media. Do you understand? So the fact that you're still going to need to come back to it for some reason, whether you're a business person, you're a social media or manager or whatever, right? Or just for news or just for entertainment, you're still going to have to come back to the stupid bubble of social media for some reason. So even if you were previously addicted and you fought against that addiction and you're not addicted anymore, the fact that you still have to come back to social media still for some reason, right, still puts you at risk of getting addicted again. That is the problem with social media addiction. It is something that is so necessary in our lives in 2022 that sometimes you don't even know you're addicted. You really don't, right? You don't know. It's tough. I'm not going to lie. That's why I say every time that everybody is addicted to social media, just to different extents. So I think the goal, obviously, is not to stop using social media, but to use applications that are actually beneficial to us. Here's the thing. Before I started my YouTube channel, I didn't have IG. I was not using IG for shit. No IG, no Snapchat, no TikTok, none of those freaking apps. All I had was WhatsApp, Twitter, YouTube. Finish. Do you understand? Now, the only reason why I have gotten IG and TikTok is to promote my YouTube videos there. Finish, right? I'm saying this because you need to have a select few applications that you are using. You get, if you're using Twitter, you're using YouTube, have 2 to 3 apps that you're actually using and uninstall the remaining, because there's nothing that you're going to see in those ones that you will not see on the other apps. I swear, there's nothing. I'm probably the worst example because now I'm on every social media app, but the reality is there's nothing. If you have 2 to 3 social media apps, you should be fine. Do you understand? You should be okay. That's step 1. Step 2 is something I've been talking about since I started this channel, which is using do not disturb on your phone, so you don't get notifications popping in every 2 to 3 seconds. It is super distracting. The things that you actually need to live well in this life, right, are things that don't give you as much dopamine as social media. Things like sitting down on your table and reading the news. Things like sitting down on your table and actually studying, reading books, reading biographies of people, right? Those things don't give you as much dopamine as social media. So if you're trying to indulge in those good activities and then your phone is beeping every 2 to 3 seconds, you see how distracting it is. Another step to fixing this whole social media addiction is the way you start your mornings, right? One thing I've noticed is if you start your day with binging social media for 2 to 3 hours, you're waking up by 7, you're on social media from 7 to 10, then after that you're like, okay, now I can start my day. It's a lie. As long as you started your day with those 3 hours of binging social media, you have conditioned your brain, right, to expect a certain level of dopamine that particular day. For that reason, no matter what you're doing throughout that day, you will keep on going back to social media. Because there's nothing that you're going to do that is going to be as satisfying as being able to scroll through social media that fast, getting that much information and that much excitement and entertainment. Do you understand? So if you can start your day early in the morning, do you understand, without social media, do you get, without it, or at least if you're coming online, let's say you're doing a business, you go to that particular app where your business is running, answer emails or whatever, and go off, right? If you do that, then you have not given your brain so much dopamine to the point that you cannot focus on simple things. Social media is good, though, it's great, but let's not pretend like we cannot see the decay of the society because of social media. People are dumb now. I say people know why is again. You get some kind of things maybe say you go to hear person they talk. You're like, how are you 25? And you're talking like a child. It's because nobody's reading anything. Nobody's reading, right? And then when you're going out, nobody's going out. Everybody's going out to party. No, like there's no activity that improves the way we think as human beings again. Social media is just giving us quick forms of gratification, and the actual activities that build you as a man or as a person is too boring to do. Guys, if you would like to become a member of the channel, get early access to my videos, be able to be on one-on-one video calls with me and so many other perks, definitely join my membership group. Click on the first link in the description or click on the join button besides the subscribe button. Join the channel, support your boy, and I'll be very grateful. Thank you for watching. You go be.